When I turned 75, I didn't throw a big party. There were no fancy gifts or champagne toasts. Instead, I sat alone with a cup of tea, staring out the window, and I whispered something I had never dared to say before. I feel free. Not the kind of freedom that comes with youth or money or some perfect plan. This was a deeper kind of freedom I had earned, but only after living through a lifetime of expectations, losses, and hard lessons. It took me 75 years to stop apologizing for who I am. Years to release the guilt of pleasing everyone but myself. Years to finally understand what matters and what never did. And today, I want to share the 5 truths that unlocked this peace in me. Truths that could shift the way you see your own journey, no matter your age. If you have ever felt like you've missed your chance, if you've carried regret, pressure, or quiet sadness, this story is for you. Because freedom, real freedom, has no deadline. You do not owe everyone an explanation. I used to explain everything I did. Why I left a gathering early, why I did not lend money, why I wanted quiet instead of noise. I thought I had to earn the right to make my own choices. One day, after I canceled a weekend trip, a friend called and said, "You don't have to explain, you know. You are allowed to just be." That hit me like a warm breeze. We live much of our lives trying to justify our decisions to people who are not living our lives. Now, I politely say, "Thank you for understanding," and I move on. Why it freed me. Letting go of the need to explain every decision lifted a weight I didn't realize I was carrying. People will judge you. Anyway, so live authentically. In my 40s, I wore clothes I didn't like, went to dinners I did not enjoy, and smiled at. People who drained me just to avoid judgment. And guess what? I still got judged. When I turned 70, I decided to try something bold. Live as if everyone already disapproved, and do what made me proud. I wore bold scarves, stopped dyeing my hair, and joined a painting class full of strangers. Some people still judged me. But the right people? They leaned in closer. Real story. My neighbor Ruth began singing in a local choir at 78, after hiding her voice her whole life. She said, "If I die with my song still in me, that would be the real tragedy." Why? It freed me. Once you accept that some judgment is unavoidable, you stop shaping your life around other people's opinions and start shaping it around joy. Saying no is a gift to your soul. The hardest word to say is often the smallest. No. I spent decades overcommitting. Out of guilt, fear, and habit. I said yes to events I dreaded, responsibilities that exhausted me, and even conversations I wanted no part of. It wasn't until I got shingles at 73 that my doctor gently said, "Your body is not just tired, it's screaming for boundaries." So, I started saying no more often. No to things that robbed my energy. No to people who only called when they needed something. No to overextending myself to be the good one. Why it freed me. Every time I said no, I made space for something more healing, rest, joy, or simply peace. No became my sacred word. Not for rejection, but for self-respect. Forgiving yourself is the most underrated superpower. We talk so much about forgiving others, but no one tells you how vital it is to forgive yourself. I used to replay old mistakes like broken records, the things I said in anger, the moments I missed, the people I let down. Each memory whispered, "You should have done better." But one afternoon, I sat under a maple tree with my journal and wrote down every mistake I was still carrying. Then I wrote a sentence under them all. I did the best I could with who I was at the time. And I let it go. Not because the pain vanished, but because I finally decided to stop punishing myself. Why it freed me. Self-forgiveness did not erase my past. It set me free from reliving it. I became gentler with myself, kinder to the woman in the mirror, and in turn, I became more loving to others too. Your time is precious. Spend it like gold when you realize that time, not money, is your most limited resource. Your life changes. I stopped wasting days waiting for the perfect moment. I started calling people I love, even if it was just to say hello. I drank tea slowly. I laughed louder. I walked barefoot in the garden, and I started creating joy pockets, little rituals that filled me up. A daily morning stretch, reading under a blanket, watching birds outside my window. Real story. I met Harold at a senior center who starts every day by writing one sentence of gratitude. He said, "It's my way of telling time that I own it, not the other way around." Why it freed me. By honoring my time, I stopped feeling like I was running out of life and started living the life I still have left. I used to think freedom was about having more money, more energy, more things. Now, at 75, I see it differently. Freedom is saying what you mean without fear. Freedom is protecting your peace without guilt. Freedom is choosing joy, even when others do not understand it. If you are still waiting to feel ready to live your truth, hear this. The door is already open. Walk through it. You have earned it. Let me ask you, which of these truths feels the most freeing to you right now? Have you started living more authentically, or are you still waiting for permission? What is one change you could make today that would make your soul feel lighter? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us create a space where growing older means growing bolder. And if this video touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with this community. You are not alone. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to begin again. Freedom begins the moment you stop asking for it and start living it. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. Take care of your heart, your truth, and your time.